Hi guys, welcome back to Behind the Scenes. I hope you guys are doing great. On today's episode, I have with me Gbolahan Adejobi, popularly known as Geejokes. How you doing, Gbolahan?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much for making time out to be with us on the show today. Alright, so can you introduce yourself, please?
Alright, so like earlier said, my name is Adejobi Gbolahan. I'm popularly known as Geejokes. I'm an entertainer, I'm a public speaker, I'm a comedian, and I think that's pretty much. I'm just a serial entrepreneur. Anything I find my hand doing, I probably would do it.
Alright, that's great. How did your journey into comedy start?
Okay, so it started in, I think, 2015. Yeah, when I was entering university, 2015. There was this particular comedy competition I held. So I went and then I came third, and from there I started pushing.
Alright, how did your stage name Geejokes come about?
Okay, so initially when I started comedy, it was in church during teens church when you want to do programs in the main church and all that. So there was nobody to crack jokes and all that. Everybody wanted to do quotable quotes, memory verses and all that kind of thing. So I decided to do comedy, and initially it was Son of God. That was like the stage name I was using. But actually they were like other SOGs that were into comedy, so it was like SOG. So I now decided to find something easy. So my name is Gbolahan and I crack jokes. So that was Geejokes.
Alright, that's cool. Alright, so at what point did you decide that you wanted to do comedy professionally?
Alright, so basically from the very onset, I just wanted to freestyle. Like till now, I don't know if I'm doing comedy professionally because I see it as more of a hobby than a profession. Like it's not something I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I have to do comedy. So it's okay, there's a platform to play and just play around and stuff. So I think from the very onset, I've just taken it a little bit more serious, but not really professional. Like it's one job.
Okay. So how was it like getting into the industry? What was the receptiveness like? Like, was there like support from other comedians and stuff like that?
Alright, so initially, a couple of things favored me, which is Ibadan. Location-wise, they were like upsurge of comedians around that time, so everybody wanted to see new things or hear new people. So new people were sprouting up from different places. So it was easy for me to blend in, and I was accepted because everybody wanted something new. And apparently, as at that time, what I was doing was quite unique. Before, Ibadan has been stereotyped into thinking that you have to put Yoruba in your jokes because it's Ibadan. So everybody was cracking joke in Yoruba, you joking. So, and initially, throughout my career, people would hardly remember a Yoruba joke I did. Most of my jokes are always in English and all that. So that was kind of like new to people. And then I was probably around 15 when I started. 15, 16, so it was like, oh, this young boy, this small boy. So apparently it was easy for me.
Okay. So, but also knowing that there isn't like any school for comedy or like any platforms where you could go to learn like other creative skills, did that put any pressure on you when you wanted to start professionally?
Okay. So actually, I think you can learn comedy, but there's no school for it. But you can actually like learn from other people, like through mentorship and listening to videos and all that. And since you know that there's no school for it, which means everybody's at that disadvantage, I don't think there's any pressure because it's not like, oh, someone is actually going to learn and you can't learn. Like nobody's actually learning, everybody's just doing.
It's like a plain
It's like a plain ground. The only reason why you can have pressure is when you see that your own talent or the way your creativity or spontaneity is not up to someone else's own or other people's own and all that, or the way they center their jokes or create their jokes or curate it. So that's it.
Alright, so what was your parents' reaction when you decided to go into comedy full time or like professionally?
Okay, so it's not like they ever accepted comedy full time, and apparently the best thing is if you are ever doing something else apart from like schooling, just make sure you're doing well in school. If you're doing well in school, they won't really talk much. And since initially I started from the church, so it was they could not push me out of it. Everybody in the church calls them by my stage name. Oh, mommy Geejokes, daddy Geejokes. So they can't say, oh, don't be Geejokes anymore. So it was already like part of the whole system.
Okay, that's really great. What was growing up like for you?
I think it was pretty much fun. It was more of a small family, 4 children, 2 parents. Everybody was going to a good school and all that, and everybody grew up, entered university. Those that traveled abroad. But it was not like, oh, we were born into like wealth. It was just a normal family that lives and eat together. And our parents were never separated, so everybody was around and all.
Okay. How do you keep yourself relevant despite the seeming outburst of comedy? Today there's a new skit, there's a new trend, everyone is in love with a new person. How do you keep yourself relevant with all of that?
Okay, so I think that's a very important question. First, they are like comedy is like into different sectors. It's like when you have a circle and then you're dividing into like you're trying to make a pie chart or something.
Yeah.
And so like it is different. Skit making is a different sector.
Okay.
Stand-up comedy is a different sector. Yeah. I think the problem is because skit makers are trending easily.
Yes.
Stand-up comedians feel they should be into skits.
Okay.
So naturally, skit makers are meant to be skit makers. The same way I'm not expecting to see Taoma come and crack a joke in front of the audience, or I'm not expecting to see Lasisi do 1 hour of comedy. Same way I don't feel people need to pressure themselves to do skits. Now, the amazing part is everybody has their own market. The skit people have their online market where they can do YouTube, make money, get paid for adverts and all that. But it won't stop shows from happening, like proper shows from happening.
Yes.
And you too, as a proper comedian, you make your money off proper shows and all that. So me as a person, I stay relevant because I know my niche. I'm not really trying to force fame. The main reason why I entered comedy was not because I wanted to get famous, because as at the time I entered comedy, comedians don't just get famous like that. It's more of the music thing and all that. So I didn't enter to get famous. So most times I'm not always pressured to do anything. If I want to do a skit and I feel I'm comfortable with it, and it's a joke that I have that I think I can convert to a skit, maybe it won't really do well on stage, okay, then I can do a skit. So I just do things according to how I time it in my mind. So that's how I stay. I don't pressure myself.
That's a great strategy. I think that's very key, because there are a lot of trends going on right now, and everybody wants to belong or be part of something, and it might not necessarily be the right place for them to be. All right. So, what are some of the challenges you faced building a brand in this sector for yourself?
All right. I think the first one I faced was popularity. I didn't really put popularity into like my agenda. It was meant to be, a comedian, you make people happy, and if possible you get paid. If not, you're happy, just make people happy. And then eventually popularity was coming into it, because eventually if you're a comedian and 1,000 people are seeing you on stage, 1,000 people know you already. 2,000 people are seeing 2,000 people know you. So now you cannot live a normal life without people trying to refer to the celebrity part of it. Like you're living the comedian aspect, but they would bring in the celebrity aspect. For example, if you're going out and you're in a restaurant and you're eating, as a normal person, you're meant to eat and other people eat. But then as a popular comedian, you're eating and someone is recording you. Or someone walks up to you and says, Baba, crack joke for us now. Like, it's always annoying. Like, they want you to always leave that person on stage at every point in time, not like your own personal.
Not knowing what you're even going through at that point in time.
Nobody cares, you're a comedian. You're meant to be happy every time. So. And then the other thing is, you have to factor in rumors part of this whole thing. For example, if as a normal person, you're not really outspoken, comedy does not have to do with you being a clown. People don't really understand. I might be a comedian and not talk in public, like I'm not talking time. Yeah, because most of my jokes are in my head, they're my imagination. I imagine something and it sounds funny to me, and I say it and it's funny to you. But I'm not necessarily meant to be a clown, like making everybody laugh at every point in time. Like I should have like my own alone time and all that. So when you're having your own alone time, or you're probably not making people laugh every time, people see it as pride. But then you being conservative, because that's how you've been almost every
your
time
life.
before you even got to that stage and all that. So the rumors get to be factored into these things, and people who have not met you before assume things because you're a celebrity and they can't access you. So anybody can access that, access you, whatever they say
that's what they believe.
So the first problem I had was popularity. And the second problem I had was originality. Now in the comedy industry, this might sound funny, but it's true. We have like 100 jokes and 1,000 comedians. And so what does the remaining 900 people do? They recycle the jokes. So apparently when I was starting, I was being very creative. At least I know that most of my materials are mine and all that. I sat down to think about it. But when you're a young person in the industry and you say something, the older people say the same thing, and they're not accountable to you for using your material. I can crack a joke that I used a week to form, and someone steals it, cracks it somewhere else, makes a video of it, even post it online. Now, because he's a senior colleague, he's not accountable to you. You met him in the industry. Yeah. Now, you can't even challenge that. Oh, boss, this is my joke and all that. No, nobody believes anybody has a joke. Like, every joke is everybody's joke.
Okay, so what are some principles or some strategies that you can say you've used to scale up your brand over the years?
Okay, the first one is I'm actually always very close to my God. It is your choice to choose religion or not believe in anything, but I believe in when you have that idea that there's someone that you can talk to that does not talk to any other person. So someone that you can come out and come up into, and someone that you believes like is directing you, either you're actually in the direction or not. But once you have that idea, like the way you operate would be in a different way. So let me give a very funny example. If is an invigilator in the room, and you can't see the invigilator, but you're aware that he's an invigilator in the room, you won't want to cheat or ask someone at the back because you don't know where the invigilator is, but you know that he's an invigilator in the room. So it guides you. So me personally, when I speak to God, most of the things that I want used to happen like smoothly. Then the next thing I know is I believe in principles. If you are this type of person that does this thing, if a trend comes that everybody's doing this, just probably stick to what you're doing.
To what you know.
Because the point of trends are very temporary. By the time everybody does this and the trend is off, they have to come back. But by the time they come back, you're already a pioneer because you were on that lane for a while and stuff. So I'm always like very sticky to principle. If I want to do this, I do this. And I think the last thing is I'm always open for networking. So I understand that there are some people that are not entertainers, but being around them, you can see one or two things that would help you as an entertainer. Like just being among them, hearing what they say, thinking the way they think and all that. So I call myself a businessman / entertainer because I can literally do business with entertainment. Like I'd not feel like I'm losing that entertainment part of me. I can turn every venture in entertainment into profitable business and it will pay me. So I'm always networking as much as I can.
Alright. Could you give us some personal experiences of some setbacks that you've encountered while building up?
Okay, so first is I think every business encounters financial setback. Most times when you dream big. It might not like be big, but at least you don't like dream the reality. It's not what you dream. So you dream big. And so when you dream big, there are things that you have to do, and then they need financing. For example, if you do a season 1 of your show or a part 1 or whatever they call it, so like a season 1 of your show, by the time you do season 2, people expect it to be bigger than season 1. So you want to use a bigger venue, you want to call a bigger artist, bigger sound system, and then that's when financing comes in. And because the industry is not like Lagos industry where companies are willing to jump on every event and sponsor and all that. So most of the times you have to like by yourself find out how you want to make this happen and finance this whole thing. So finance is like a setback. Then when it comes to having personal deals, another setback is people, I can't say take advantage of people, but for example, I can still use the word take advantage. If a deal is coming, there would always be a promoter. For example, if a big show is coming and they need comedians, there will be a promoter that would reach out to people and all that. So maybe initially, according to the budget for a performance, maybe they are budgeting to pay you 300k, and because of the location and maybe you as a person, the promoter says, it's someone I know now, why don't we scale it down to 50k? And so now they're offering 50k instead of the 300k budget. Now you don't collect 50k, you are termed as proud. But because you understand that that's not the value, you're looking at the platform and you being on that, the value does not. But because they are like very greedy promoters or PR people, everybody wants to have their cut, so everything's always been slashed. And people feel when they know you, it's like a free pass to get like your talent, your services for free or whatever. So I think that's another setback. Too many greedy people around.
Okay, could you also give us some deals or some platforms that you've been exposed to that came to you as a shock?
Okay, so I've been on platforms like Glow events. Glow used to do Lafteria, one big platform. I've been on Mass, that's like a Christian event. I've been on comedy. I've been on Adejobi's comedy show. I've been on Alibaba's comedy show. I've been on TV, TV. So like a couple of them came as a shock to me because of timing. Like when you figure out that spot yet and you bring it out, okay, you're like wow. For example, there was a particular event that was at last year, early December, and imagine big comedians performing before you.
Wow.
And then they purposely said in public that they stalled you because you're like the new face of comedy. So Ken Black performed before me, Aboro performed before me, Kelvin Sapp performed before me, and then they said they want to bring like one of the biggest artists and act on the night, and they brought me. And it was too much pressure because now you have to either equal or outperform the big guys, and the big guys are the big guys. So, and when people don't know you and people say you're the biggest or you're one of the big guys, their expectations are way above the first stuff. But it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Okay, so what's your advice to someone who is looking to come into the whole comedy aspect of things? What advice would you give them?
Okay, first is the person should be able to sit down to know what part of comedy he wants to do. So the person does not just waste his time.
You need to be specific.
Yes, you need to be very specific. If you feel you are the one that wants to be on camera every time or try every time do the skits thing, but if you think you're very creative, and you can personally sit down and write content, write stories that are funny, then you can come to doing stand-up comedy. And another thing is when you're in stand-up comedy, don't expect fast money. There's so many off seasons where things will not be as rosy as, so if you're coming to stand-up comedy for very fast money, you might never really get that fast money. You might trend for a while, but you're not eating big like that. And also try and be open to your creativity. Like don't think you can only get jokes from a particular aspect. You can get jokes from anything. So just try and observe your area, your environment, try and interpret things in a different light. Okay, like how can I talk about Buhari saying this in a funny way? But Buhari said it in a serious manner. And many people took it in a serious manner. So what's the joke in it? How can I change all these things? Because if you notice here, the creativity part is when someone points out a joke in what you were not seeing as a joke, it makes it more fun. Like, okay, so this guy can actually see something in this thing I'm not seeing. Yeah, so that kind of thing. So I think, yeah.
Alright. Well, it's been great having you on the show today. Very insightful for me, to be honest. So guys, see you guys on the next episode. I would link his accounts below or in the comment section. See you guys next week.